All right. Okay, so going to the next page. All right, so we're gonna continue with simplifying algebraic fraction, and now we're gonna have we're gonna call this harder question. Harder question. Okay. All right. Let's say that you have this question: x squared plus 2x plus 1 divided by x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, so in here we have a quadratic on top and we have a quadratic at the bottom, so 2 monic. Okay, so we have 2 monic. Remember that we call them monic because the number in front of the x squared is equal to 1. So if you have any other number in front of the x squared, then it's not a monic anymore. Okay, so if you don't know what I am talking about, then you should watch the other 2 videos, monic and non-monic. Okay, but let's say that you remember what all this is about. Then we need to simplify the top line. We need to simplify the bottom line. Now, for this one in particular, well, we can say we're looking for 2 numbers. So I'm going to put x in here and x in here. So we're looking for 2 numbers that when you times them together, the answer is equal to 1. But when you plus them together, the answer is equal to 2. Okay, I will repeat. So we are looking for 2 numbers that when you times them together, the answer is positive 1, but when you add them together, the answer is 2. And you can see that the numbers are plus 1 and plus 1. Okay, because yeah, we can check 1 times 1 is equal to 1. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So that is really good, okay, because this now is identical to that. But this is the factor form of that one. Okay, for the bottom, we're gonna do exactly the same. Okay, so we need to find 2 numbers, so that here we have another monic. So we need to find 2 numbers that when you times them together, the answer is positive 2, but when you plus them together, the answer is positive 3. And it's clear that the 2 numbers are 1 and 2. Okay, let's check. 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2, and 1 plus 2 is equal to positive 3. So that means that this is correct. Okay, and then we are going to simplify common factor. So you can see that on top we have x plus 1, and so at the bottom. Okay, so that means that the answer at the end is going to be x plus 1 divided by x plus 2. Okay. Question 2. All right, let's say that you have something like, all right, let's do this one. 4 minus 2a divided by a squared minus 2a. Right, let's say that we have 4 minus 2a over a squared minus 2a. Okay, so let's take the common factor from the top. So if you take the common factor from the top, well, the highest common factor between them is 2, and then we're going to have 2 minus a. And if you do the same to the bottom, take the common factor, then you can see that the common factor is a, and then inside the bracket we're going to have a minus 2. Okay, now you can see in here we have 2 minus a, but in here we have a minus 2, so that means that we cannot simplify these two. However, if you put a negative outside of, or at the front or in front of this expression, so if you put negative in front of this expression, then you can change this bracket and put that as a minus 2. Okay, but to change this you have to put negative outside. That makes sense, because if you multiply negative by a, it's going to be negative a, and if you do negative multiplied by negative 2, then the answer is positive 2. Okay, so that means that we are allowed to do that, but you gotta be careful when doing that. Okay, and then at the bottom we're gonna have a minus 2. Okay, now is good, because then we can take these 2 out, and the answer is going to be minus 2 over a, or if you want you can put negative 2 over a, like that. And here we're going to put a note. I'm going to put a note that might help you for later. So we're going to say from now on that if you do negative x divided by y, that is exactly the same as if you do negative in front of x over y, but that is the same as if you do x over minus y. Alright, so I mean it doesn't matter where you put the negative, so the negative, it can be on top, it could be in front, or it could be at the bottom, so that doesn't do anything. Okay, so I'm gonna circle this, and that may help you for later. All right, okay, let's do, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller so we can fit more stuff in. All right, okay, question 3. Question 3, let's say that you have this. You have m squared plus 2m minus 8 all divided by m squared minus 4. All right, let's say that you have that. Okay, so on top we have a monic, so you can see that we have a monic, we have a quadratic trinomial, and at the bottom I hope that you can see that in here we have the difference of 2 squares. Okay, so we have a monic and the difference of 2 squares. Okay, so here we go. So first of all we need to find, so we're gonna do the top, and for the top we need to find 2 numbers that when you times them together, so you're gonna put first m, and then I'm gonna put m. Okay, so we need to find 2 numbers to put in here and there. Okay, so we need to find 2 numbers that when you times them together the answer is negative 8, but when you put them together the answer is positive 2. Okay, I will repeat. So we need to find 2 numbers, so when you multiply them to each other the answer is negative 8, but when you add them together the answer is positive 2. Okay, so there are different combination that you can find, but only one will work. Okay, so if you think about it for a little while, you're gonna find out that the numbers are positive 4 and negative 2. Okay, let's see. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, and 4 minus 2 is equal to 2, so it works. Okay, so when doing the factorization of this, you gotta be patient and you gotta be persistent, because sometimes you're not gonna find the numbers in one go, so you need to think about it. Sometimes you need to use a calculator. If this number is too big, then yeah, it could be a little bit tricky, but you need to be patient and you need to be persistent. Okay, and all these questions are given in such a way that you're going to be able to find those two numbers, but later you're going to see that sometimes we cannot find those two numbers in the very easy way, so that means that we're going to have to do it in a very different way, but we're going to leave that for now. Okay, and I say that the bottom is the difference of 2 squares, so it's going to be m minus 2, and then we're going to have m plus 2, right? Okay, and then we can see that we can take this out and take that out, so that means that at the very end what is left is just m plus 4 over m plus 2. Okay, so that is the simplest form of this expression. All right, I hope you are getting the picture. Okay, there are some other questions that require a little bit more thinking, so we're going to do a few more questions from this section, and then we're going to move on to addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, so let's move on to the next page. Right. So that was question 3. Now we're going to do question 4. Okay, question number 4. All right. Okay, let's say that you have this very intimidating expression. Let's say that you have 3x squared y minus 6xy all over 2x squared y minus 4xy squared. Okay, for some people this may be a very ugly, scary, intimidating question, but you'll see how we can do this. All right, so let's take the common factor of the top. So the common factor between 3 and 6 is 3. Okay, and then you take the x with the lowest power, so that means that in here we got x and in here we got x squared, so that means that this is the x with the lowest power, so you're going to put x in there, and then you're going to do y. Okay, so you can see that y is the same, so that means that we can take y all together outside. And then we're gonna start doing the factorization. Okay, so 3 divided by 3 is just 1, so keep that in mind. And then in here we got 2 x's, but in here we got only 1, so that means that we need 1 more inside. Now in here we have y, and in here we have y, so we don't need any y anymore. Okay, so we have the same amount of y here as in here. And then negative 6 divided by 3, so that is minus 2. And then in here we got x, in here we got x, so we don't need any other x. And here we got y, so we don't need any other y. Okay, and then we're going to do the same at the bottom. So highest common factor between 2 and 4 is just 2. And then the x with the lower power is just x. And the y with the lower power is just y. Okay, and then that's it. That's all we can take out. And then we're going to start. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we don't need to put anything in there for now. In here we got 2 x's, but in here we got only 1. So that means that we need one more. In here we have y, and in here we have y, so we don't need any more y inside. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this is negative 4 divided by 2, it's just minus 2. In here we have 1x, and in here we have already 1x, so we don't need any more x's inside. In here we got 2y, but in here we have only 1, so that means that we need one more inside. All right. Okay, and then we're going to simplify whatever we can. Okay, so you can see that we can take xy from here and xy from here. And then we don't have any other factor to simplify, so I mean that the answer is just going to be 3 bracket x minus 2 over 2 x minus 2 y, close bracket. Okay. Okay, so that is the answer for that question. All right. Let's do another question. We're gonna call, well, this is question 5. All right. Let's say now we have this one. We have 3x squared plus 6x, and then all divided by x squared plus 4x plus 4. All right, let's say that. Okay, the highest common factor from the top, well, is 3x, and then the other factor is going to be x plus 2. Okay, 3x times x is 3x squared, 3x times 2 is 6x. Okay, and now the bottom. So the bottom is a monic, so it's a trinomial, so we got 1, 2, and 3 terms. So this is the one that we need to, for which we need to find two numbers that when you, we need to find two numbers that when you times them together, the answer is 4, but when you plus them together, the answer is also 4. Okay, so we can see that we're talking about 2 and 2. Okay, because 2 times 2 is equal to 4, and 2 plus 2 is equal also to 4. Okay, and then we can see that we have a common factor, so we have x plus 2, x plus 2. So finally the answer is just 3x over x plus 2, or 3x divided by x plus 2. Right. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video in here.